What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Logistical Styles coming back at you from the workshop, and we are revisiting the photo booth that I did a video about maybe a month or two ago. So this is my DIY do-it-yourself photo booth. Basically it's made for iPads. You could probably do it with a Surface Pro, but I designed it specifically for an iPad. And the design of it, if you've watched my last video, just take a look at that video to get caught up to see what this design is about. But it basically is, I take some PVC pipe, which you can buy from your hardware store like Home Depot or Ace Hardware, and I use the connectors and the fittings along with some wood and some other supplies to create what they call a shell. The shell is what holds the iPad that runs the photo booth software. In my case, I'm using LumaBooth. LumaBooth is a fairly easy to use software. It's an app you can get on your iPad. It runs for about $20 a month and it gives you unlimited events. So within a month for $20, you can do multiple events, renting out photo booths using this app. All you have to do is customize the templates and the layout for each event. It's very easy to do, and there are lots of videos on YouTube where you can find out how to do that. Eventually, as I get more into it, I'll make some videos on that, but feel free to search and you'll find plenty of videos that can show you how to make the templates using LumaBooth. What this video is about is basically an update on what I've been doing with these photo booths. The original design was very simple. This was the first one I made. It's been enhanced a little bit with some stuff, but basically it's a 3-inch PVC pipe that I connect using various connectors that you also buy in the same aisle that you would get the PVC pipe. If you go into the plumbing section of your Home Depot, you'll be able to find this stuff. But I use a 3-inch, but you can also use a 4-inch. This is another variation of it where I use the 4-inch pipe, and I'll show you why I use the 4-inch pipe. As you see, this is made up of two different pieces. You can actually buy a very long length of this PVC pipe, which would allow you to make maybe 2.5 photo booth stands. But what I like is, for some reason I like this little middle piece. It kind of gives it a little bit of a texture or a little bit of a design flair to it. So I buy these in two separate pieces. At Home Depot I pay, I believe it's between $10 and $15 per piece. I want to say it's $10 per piece because I bought two of them for $20, I believe. But these other little pieces right here, this is a little attachment that goes from 3-inch to 2-inch, and then I put another little piece in here that's about a 1-inch hole. And what I did was I used the pole that comes with the ring lights, and I stuffed them down in the middle of this PVC pipe, which allows the top part to stand up, and this is where you would connect the ring light. The ring light is made to connect to this because this is the stand that it came with. What's also cool about this little stand is if you unscrew this black cap, you get a 1/4-inch screw top. So I'm researching currently now to see if there's other methods for me to attach it, because I'm not really sold on the sturdiness of using that ring light, especially when you have people pressing on it, pressing on the iPad. It kind of makes it wobble a little bit. So I'm working on ways to fix that. But other than that, one improvement I've made from my last video is I had initially used these round connectors, and the pole for the ring light would stay in the center, but it had a little play. So what I ended up doing was taking some old foam that came with a road case. This was like a little piece of foam that came with a road case, and I took a hole saw similar to the hole saw that I used to cut the hole in the base. We'll go over that again shortly, but I used the hole saw to cut out that amount of foam. This foam is pretty thick. It's about 1 inch thick. It's really solid. It's made to protect your controller in the road case. But I cut that out, and then I cut a hole in the middle, pop that down, and that allows this center pole to stay solid. It ain't moving. It's very, very solid. So that was a big improvement that I made for this. Another change I did was originally I had this painted in black matte paint, and I did it in spray paint and it came out well. Then I experimented with using a brush and a roller to kind of get a better coverage of it, more even coverage. But as I also changed the method, I also changed the paint. I went with, this is the satin black, not glossy black. I think glossy is just a little bit too glossy, but the satin black looks really good, and that's what I went with. I've done this in white as well, and I found that white is a little bit harder to paint, but maybe it would get easier if I did more of them, because the original PVC pipe is white with some lettering down the side. For the white one, I ended up sanding down the lettering and just painting over it with some primer, and it looked good. Nice flat white pole, but I think the black looks a little bit more sleeker, elegant. It kind of blends in a bit better than the white. Some DJs prefer the white for weddings, and they're just really adamant about white everything, white speakers, white truss, white, all that stuff, but I like the black. This is really cool because the design allows you to, either you can put your feet on both sides, or you can kneel down on the bass and you just rock it right out. Now, one thing I changed, this is the original one. The original tripod that I got fit perfectly inside this 3-inch pipe. I was able to put it in there, get it in there solid, tight. It ain't going nowhere. One thing I discovered though is, even though I was ordering the same ring light from Walmart, the bases were coming in different sizes. Some of them, or most of them, were too small. Maybe not the same smallness, but they just didn't fit in tight enough like that one did. So I've ordered like 4 or 5 different ring lights, same model, and they all come with different size bases. So I had to find a way to be able to get the base, the pole, to stay inside the the pole for the ring light needed to be able to stay inside the PVC pipe. So this is a change that I made. I'm going to take this off so you can I can show you. Take this one off, and same way, just put your feet on the base, rock it up, it comes up. So what I ended up doing was, because the bases are made of plastic, I took an end cap. You can get an end cap. I'll put a link in the description. You can get an end cap that goes inside the 3-inch PVC pipe, or even the 4-inch pipe. I didn't do it with the 4-inch pipe, and I'll show you why in a minute. But the bottom of this, I put this cap in there. These caps cost like $1. You get $1, and what I did was, on one of them, and it really depends because these come in such varying different sizes. Some of them fit in, some of them are too big, some of them are too small. So you gotta work with what you got. So one method is to take this as is and use some PVC or some good strong cement glue and glue it to the cap, and then it stays in. And then once you have it glued to the cap and it's super tight, then you put it into the pole and you're good to go. Now, another thing you can do, and that's what I ended up doing for a lot of these, is because they were really usually too big. This pole, this center pole right here, where the rest of the ring light would be coming through, it's held in place by one screw. So you take that screw out and you'll have the pole itself. Well, what are you going to do with the pole? Well, I'll show you. So here's what you do. Get your screwdriver and unscrew this one little retaining screw. Once you pop that out, the whole pole just comes out. Probably unscrew that, make that a little loose. Comes out. So you'll have this pole, and this pole will be attached to all that's in there. So this is just the base pole. So what you do is go to Home Depot again. You take the 3/4 inch adapter right here, and then get another piece. So these pieces cost like 50 cents, 60 cents. You get your little adapter. See this right here? The pole goes right into it. You can get some It's probably the same cement. I use the same cement. I use some PVC cement and something called liquid nails, and just plug it into there. Once you got that plugged into there, let that glue sit. Once it's tight, you got your whole pole. Remember that. You got that, and you get it. This is a smaller end cap, but the same thing. You would glue it right there. So this right there in the middle is your base. That's what's going on inside this right here, and I think in this one as well. I gotta look at that, but definitely this one. When you have the base, the end cap stuck inside the PVC pole, you would get another little piece, something like this. This is a three. This is a three. No, this is a half inch. This one's a half inch. Half inch. Glue it onto there. Glue it onto there. The rest of the pole will be there. And then once you have it set, let it sit overnight. Make sure it gets good and tight, you know what I'm saying? And then once you have that done, then you have to do some experimenting, but get the pole, the rest of the ring light stand, you can adjust those different parts inside to get it to the right height that fits right in and has enough clearance for this ring light. Has this little knob on the side, so you want to have enough clearance for it to be able to go in, tighten down, but not sticking too far up. Now in this particular one, I'm using this iPad stand. It adjusts and it holds. I'm not really using this one for my iPad, for my photo booth. It's just there as a placeholder for me, but everything else is still the same. We're still using the wooden back that's velcroed to the back of the ring light. You find yourself a good iPad case. This is a cheap one that I got from Walmart. The brand is called On, and it's velcroed. You get the good industrial strength velcro that can hold like 10 pounds, and get it there. Goes right into place, and then you're good to go. Now let's look at the base a little bit, because I did some improvements on the base. If you notice over here, this base has a little bit of a glow on it. So I went to a store called Ollie's, kind of like Big Lots or any other wholesaler that buys a lot of stuff in bulk that's like been discounted or discontinued. They buy them and sell them really cheap. So I went there and I found these LED strip lights. Now let's just pull it up. This one is in blue. I got them in, that one's red. These are some that I bought for like $4. $4 for a strip that's long. And what I ended up doing was I used some 1-inch feet, rubber feet, to raise the platform from the ground. And that's enough clearance for me to be able to put this little LED strip around it. And what's really cool about it, even though this is a basic strip and it's discontinued, other strips are made just like this. So I can just pull this strip out and replace it with another strip. This strip is really basic. It's just one color. It plugs in through USB and gives you the underglow. But the more expensive ones, they come with a remote control, or they use a Bluetooth app for your phone, and you can change the colors, do patterns. So it just depends on what you want to spend the money on. What I'm shipping has the cheap or the inexpensive single color LEDs, and you can always replace them. The rubber feet were really handy. They really make a difference. I didn't like having it sitting flush on the ground, and especially when I use it with the flange. This is the toilet flange. This piece that pops up, it's a toilet flange. You can get it from Home Depot for $6. Take a 3-inch or 4-inch hole saw, cut a hole in there, pop it right in. I used the extra little bit of caulk to make it a little bit more seamless, and then just paint it. I use the same black satin paint. I use Rust-Oleum paint, and these rounds right here, you can buy them at Home Depot. The first like 2 or 3 that I made, I was cutting them out with a jigsaw, and while my cut was pretty good, it's much easier to go to Home Depot and get a 1-inch, I think it's actually a 1.5 inch, but a nice thick piece of solid wood already cut in an 18-inch circle, and all you have to do is come home, drill the hole, pop that in. I screw it into place. I also use a little glue. I use that to make sure it stays solid, and just paint. The hardest part is paint for me. I could, if I didn't have to paint it, I could build these with the supplies in hand. I could build these in about 30 minutes. But the painting is the hardest part because you got to do some sanding, and you got to try to, you know, you get obsessed with your paint job. You want to get that glass or that nice looking clean to it. But those are the updates I made. This is the 4-inch one, and I'll show you what's special about this one, or what's different, and then we'll be done. This one, so the 3-inch poles go inside the flange. That same flange, you can take a 4-inch pole and go outside. Now, when you go outside, I don't recommend coming up from the bottom, once you drill the hole, coming up from the bottom like these, have the flange that come up from the bottom. This flange sits on top. And the reason I do it on top, because it gives you more material for this to go into. This particular one right here, I didn't use the cap because it's going around it. So you really have to think about your design when you're making it. So one thing I did stick with, even with this one, is using the foam from the road case. Keeps it solidly in place. That ain't going nowhere. But this one right here, the flange is sitting on top, and that gives me a good 2, maybe 3 inches for that tube to go into, and it makes it more solid, and it stands better than if you lose some inches by going up from the bottom. But because it's all black, you can just paint it all black. It doesn't look bad at all. And I kind of do prefer the 4-inch a little bit because it's a little bit more solid. It's not much heavier. This is light, one hand. If I put it on the base, get it in place, one hand. This is light. It breaks down into 3 different parts, including the head. Now, the biggest thing that's happened since I made the previous video is the change in price of the ring lights. I was buying these ring lights from Walmart.com for $15. Shipping, I think, was either free or like $2 extra. It was very cheap for me. It was a couple of dollars. I think the total was about $17. Now, when I went back to buy them again, they're still listed at $15, but there's a freight shipping cost of $94 per light. So apparently, when I was buying these at first, they were here in the USA, local, and available to be shipped easily. I think that supply has run out, and now the rest of them are overseas, and they have to pay a freight charge to get over here. So ring light for $15 was spectacular, even though it wasn't the most bright ring light, because really I was using it in gymnasiums and really well lit places. If I had to use these in a darker location, I'd have to have extra lighting, which is not a problem. Extra lighting is something you can get. But if you want a super bright ring light where you don't need extra lighting, you're going to be spending about $150. And I know that because I made a previous booth that was a whole nother design, and it was based off of just the ring light alone was $150, and I spent another probably $150 in supplies to make it. I ended up selling it. I might make another one, but what I'm saying is these lights, the ring light is the most expensive part. If you've ever wondered why photo booth shelves are so expensive, it's the ring light. The ring light is the most expensive part, I think. Everything else is just other raw material that can be bought and built into a shell, but the ring light is the hardest, is the most expensive part. So I can sell you this for $150, no problem. But as soon as I add a ring light to it, it will probably double in price, if not more, because I'll have to find a ring light that will fit with this, which isn't too hard because this is kind of a universal mounting bracket, but at the same time you want to find one that works well, one that's not too heavy, one that has the brightness, one that is possibly USB powered. That was another plus for these lights, is because they were the size that they were and the brightness that they were, you could power them with a USB battery pack like this. And I was running one ring light at white with this for over 6 hours. Now when I'm running, maybe because this is an older battery pack and it's running out, but I did an event that was 4 hours and I was running this in multicolor with the animation going and with the ring light going, and I barely got the 4 hours out of it. So this is a $20 battery pack from Walmart, but you can probably find something much better that will handle your power supply issues. But you have to find the ring light that will have the USB connection. So those are really the big changes that I've made to the iPad shell. And I'm making this video really because I get people that ask me about buying them, and I really want them to know and understand what it is I'm building and what they are interested in buying and the options that they have. So you can get something that you can find maybe a different mount using the 1/4 inch screw on, or if you get a regular ring light that's just going to bolt onto the side, that's still cool, but you have to find the light that is going to work for you. I am doing research and trying to find it myself, but yeah, just trying to get total, transparency on what this is. It is a great light for doing events, especially with the iPad. You just pop it on, and I'm still working on trying to find something that's a little bit better than the wood on the back that the case sticks to. I want something that might be a little bit more of an enclosure for the iPad, but I'm still working on it. And like most things, as products get bigger and better, they do get a little bit more expensive. So at some point you have to wonder, is it just easier for me to go buy a full pre-made manufactured iPad shell or a photo booth shell? Depends on how much time you want to put into it and how customized you want it to be. I sold one to some other DJ, and he put his own LED lights around the edge, because around the pole, because that's what he liked. And it's cool because this is kind of a blank slate for you to be able to do that. You can get it without the lights on the bottom. You can get it with the lights on the bottom. Whatever height you want to make it, we can do that as well. But this is what we're at. I think it's a great idea. I've still gotten great feedback on the whole concept of it. It's a really simple DIY thing. If you need help making yours, we can, have a conversation through email or whatever, and I can show you what I've been doing or where I've been getting the stuff. But pretty much everything came from Home Depot and Walmart. Most of the Walmart stuff came from Walmart on the website. Just keep, if you're interested, just let me know. Just keep hit me up, let me know. We can talk about how to build these or what improvements we can do with it. But my biggest improvement so far has been using that foam from the Rode case that really solidifies it and keeps it in one place. Using the end caps for the bottom of the pipe, that was definitely a great improvement, and the lights on the bottom. So this is a work in progress. Hopefully this showed you some things and you learned a couple of ideas from it. And just keep looking out for more videos. I got a lot more stuff to talk about. I know it's been a while since I posted videos, but life gets crazy and you just kind of have to adapt and roll with the changes. So that's what I'm doing. But I got some stuff to talk to you about. DJ's Day Out 11 coming up. Got some really great gigs coming up, so some beautiful gig logs are coming out soon. And just keep watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting. And until the next time, I'm out. Peace.